Let's now turn to Donald Trump and his hush money trial in New York. Michael Cohen will be back on the stand tomorrow. This comes after 2 days of cross-examination so far by the defense, including an intense exchange on Thursday. Here with us is federal defense attorney Ronald Chapman. Ronald, good morning. Welcome back.
Good morning. Thank you.
I spoke to you last week before Cohen took the stand. You called Cohen's credibility into question. We've heard from him. What has been your impression of his testimony so far?
Well, it's crumbling. I think everybody's calling Michael Cohen into question. I've certainly heard other news networks that were supporting Michael Cohen also now calling him into question, which is it's telling. This case really is about that phone call between Michael Cohen and Schiller. And he said that Donald Trump was involved in that. We later learned through text messages that this was more about a 14-year-old kid. And then Michael Cohen's response to the questioning from Donald Trump's counsel was very telling. When he was pressed on the issue, he said he believed that he also talked about another subject. The jury heard that, and I'm sure Michael Cohen does not have any credibility with them either.
So at this point, what impact has Cohen had for the prosecution, and what does the defense need to hear to ultimately tear down his testimony?
You know, the real question is what's going to happen on redirect? Are they going to try to rehabilitate Michael Cohen when the prosecutor gets back up there? It's possible they may try, but the problem is when you're a prosecutor and you try to redirect somebody who the jury is already against, you're taking their side, you're vouching for their truth. You own them as a prosecutor when you stand up there on redirect and try to rehabilitate them in the jury's eyes. If I'm the prosecutor, it may be a short factual redirect related to a couple of topics and not really owning Cohen's truth. You want to keep your overall credibility in the case and start to run from him a little bit right now.
So you just teed me up for my next question. You are a federal defense attorney. What would you do if you were representing Trump? What kind of case would you represent?
I've been thinking about this all weekend, and this is a tough decision. Not easy for Donald Trump. These types of cases are about momentum. And coming off of a strong cross of Michael Cohen, you could put a witness on the stand. You could put, I believe, Bradley Smith was the FEC expert on the stand. But potentially ending the case right now with the testimony of Michael Cohen and showing very clearly to the jury that they haven't proven anything that you need to even come close to defending may be the decision. In fact, we may see this trial end midday on Monday and the jury given instructions and closing arguments to start Tuesday morning. I would be very prepared for that possibility. I believe that's what his attorneys are thinking right now.
Ronald, I've asked you before when this case started. I'll ask you again a few weeks in. Do you think Donald Trump should take the stand?
Absolutely not. I think that it's even more important that he doesn't take the stand right now for a few reasons. First of all, when a defendant takes the stand, the prosecutor gets to practice their closing argument against that person. Whether or not they explain or deny the answers, the prosecutor will still make the statements, and that will have a powerful impact. And you don't want two closing arguments coming into the end of a trial. The second issue is it'll take away the momentum from Michael Cohen's cross-examination and the rest of the trial, and it will force Trump to have to make explanations. The third reason is he's facing a whole bunch of other proceedings, and certainly the attorneys in those proceedings will be watching and using the transcript of that testimony against him. Donald Trump will not take the stand. I expect that he's smart enough to know that that is not a good decision, and I don't expect that we'll see him up there.
All right, let's switch gears. We have to talk about Rudy Giuliani here. After weeks of hide and seek with Arizona officials, he was served that indictment in the state's 2020 election fraud case. Talk about his alleged role in the case. What's at stake here?
Well, a lot is at stake. I mean, this is a case that has really been gunning for Rudy Giuliani. I have to mention the tweet that we saw. Rudy Giuliani essentially taunting Arizona prosecutors related to this election case. He seems to think that he has a defense. I'm not so sure about that. This is going to be a very close call. But I believe a significant number of other people were also indicted in this case. And we're going to see the same thing happen here as we did in Fulton County. Many people indicted. Many people will start to plead guilty, potentially start cutting deals with the prosecution. And given that Rudy Giuliani appears to be the main target right now, a lot of those folks are going to start making statements and testifying against him. So this is going to be a very troubling prosecution for him. And I'm sure he's getting his defense ready.
And we'll be watching both cases very closely. I know you will too. Ronald Chapman, thanks for joining us on this Sunday.
Thank you so much.
And the